Attention, warning, warning. This episode may not be like any other episode you've ever seen before. Stay tuned.
Yo, it's your boy. Wait, I'm actually Will Moldenhauer, one of the producers of this amazing podcast. We're going to be flipping the script a little bit. We're going to be going over all of 2025, a recap, and really how we felt about the whole thing. We got the Italian stallion himself, Phil Wham Bam Benamino. How we doing?
Wow, thank you so much for having me, Will.
Feels weird.
I really enjoy it. Now you know why he is the producer behind the scenes, right? You know, Will has finally come out from behind the camera so you guys can see, you know, who is in charge between him and Rocco back there, you know, who's working hard, and all our other people that are on the set, Michelle and Melissa and the different people that have helped us grow. And I'm excited to be here, man.
I'm too.
It's our New Year's episode. It's everything that's happened in 2025, which is pretty a synopsis, been pretty crazy.
2025 has definitely been probably the biggest year of the Wham Bams podcast, especially, I mean, with where we've been. I mean, we've traveled to, I mean, talk a little bit about that, going out to places like Vegas more than once, going out there with Bradley. How's that been with Brad? And
you know what? It's been fun because, you know, going to Vegas, it started, you know, going there, obviously, you know, just for fun or for work and for business. And it turned out it was like, wow, I met some cool people. And they're like, man, I want to be on your podcast. And I was like, let me see if I can get a studio here in Vegas. So I was able to do that. Big shout out to Level 9 Studios and Scott over there, who's done a phenomenal job, you know, working with us over there too. And decided we just ended up using his studio in Vegas as well. So we got kind of a West Coast studio. We got our Georgia, our East Coast studio. And we're able to get twice as many customers and people out there to tell their story. But, you know, meeting Brad over there in Las Vegas was awesome. You know, being on his podcast was really cool. And from being on his podcast turned into, hey, man, let me be on yours, you know, which was super cool.
speaking of that, dropping bombs, how was that?
Dropping bombs. We dropped some bombs, baby.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we dropped some bombs. It's pretty cool because, you know, seeing other people set up and how they do it, getting able to learn and get some, you know, really good knowledge of what to do. I mean, he's an icon. I think he's ranked number 1 or 2 right now, you know, as far as Spotify goes and Apple and all that with the podcast show. He's right up there at the top. So it was an honor, man. It was cool. It was super cool.
Speaking of Vegas, probably one of my favorite episodes and characters that we've had on the podcast is Vegas Paulie C. From the personality that you've seen of him online and his influence with Vegas, what was it like getting to go on the podcast with him and meet him in person?
Well, hello. Okay, that's his signature.
Wow.
It's his signature entrance, you know, and everything. You know, he was super cool, super down to earth guy, very, very smart, very intelligent. Honestly, I wasn't expecting, you know, to have such a dignified person. You know what I mean? He seems, you know, he knows a lot of knowledge. He has a lot of knowledge of Vegas, but he has a good time. He's having fun, but he's very, very smart individual, which was super cool.
What's your favorite part about going to Vegas? What do you love the most once you go down there?
Oh, man, Vegas itself is just a place where, you know, no matter how old you are, you feel like you're a child. You feel like you're a kid because you can do whatever you want, whenever you want when you're in Vegas. If you want to go to a sporting event, you can go. If you want to work and do an expo, you can go. If you want to go eat, there's massive great restaurants throughout Vegas. You want to party, you can party. You want to gamble, you can gamble. You know, you can have relationships there. There's just so much you can do in Vegas. Shows are incredible. And then just being able to meet people. And when you meet people in Vegas, it seems like they're always having a good time.
Yeah.
As long as you don't meet somebody on the blackjack table who's losing, because then you don't want to be nowhere near them. And I learned that. Even John Sarasani, when we had him on the pod, was super cool. What a great dude he was. But, you know, again, he makes it very clear that, hey, if I'm in a rut, man, don't talk to me. You know what I'm saying? Don't come around. Don't ask for autographs. Don't do these things. I'm trying to focus here. I'm trying to win.
Yep.
You know, type of thing.
I noticed that too, especially when playing blackjack. People have their good luck charms and things that that could set them off. Speaking of that, is blackjack your favorite game to play when going to Vegas?
You know, blackjack is my favorite game. I enjoy it because, you know, I get a say in the outcome, you know, so I can actually say I want to stay or I want to take a hit. So I actually can have some sort of a way of I can control, you know, maybe the shuffle and how the cards are coming out. Yeah. And if I don't like them, I can change them. I can play one hand, I can play two hands, I can play three hands. So, you know, having that ability is super cool, you know, when you're able to play, and the odds are pretty good. So I enjoy blackjack. Knock on wood, I've done fairly well over the years, you know, playing it. But, you know, it's one of those where I like to play quick, win quick, get out quick.
Get in, get out. So while we're here, so we'll stop beating around the bush. What was it like getting to play with the blackjack legend himself, John Sarasani?
You know, it was really fun. I didn't know what to expect, you know, playing with John. You know, he has his own rules. And I think the biggest thing about playing with somebody is you don't want to mess them up. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody sometimes has their different style. Some people play by the book. Some people don't play by the book. Some people make their own rules. And you don't really care how people play as long as they're consistent while they do it, you know, type of thing. And John has his way, man. He wins all the time. You know, it's super cool. And, you know, he takes time off and tries to explain things. And one thing that I did enjoy about playing with him is, you know, he really in tunes with his viewers. Like he really tries to help them and let them see certain scenarios that a lot of people don't really realize or know. You know, what do I do with sixes? You know, should I split them or not? Well, it depends. What's the dealer got? Let's take a look. Okay, the dealer's got a 5. Well, all right, we're gonna split them now. Yeah. You know, so he really does take the time to really help and let the viewers know what it is they need to know in order to be successful.
Was there anything else that you personally picked up? Any sort of tips and tricks he was doing, things that you didn't know?
You know what? There's definitely one thing that he did. You know, he surrenders a lot on 15 and 16, which I also surrender to at times, especially against a 10. You know, possibly a 9 as well. But the one thing he would do when he would surrender, he would take the amount, which was half the amount of the bet that you lose, the other half you get back. He would put that on top of a whole new fresh bet for his next bet. Oh. That was a rule he created, I think, and made, and it's worked out for him. I've actually tried it a few times. I think it's up and down. It's worked for me, but I haven't sat there long enough to play with it enough. But it definitely has worked for his, you know, his well-being, and it makes sense because it's like, hey, if you're playing $500 a hand, okay, and you surrender, you're getting $250 back. Well, don't just bet the $250, which I would normally do. Is be like, okay, I got a free bet for $250. I win that hand, I'm back to $500 again. Instead, he would place another $500 like it's just a brand new hand, but now he's betting $750. So if he won that hand, you know, now all of a sudden he's back to even and stuff. So
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, Vegas is always a fun time, especially whenever I'm able to go out. You know, there's always going to be some great guests to do some podcasts with. And when we're not shooting podcasts out there, either Phil's gambling. I don't really ever gamble because I never want to put down the money because I know.
Well, hold on there, Willie. Let's talk about it for a second.
I only do it whenever Phil gives me chips.
Yeah.
It's the only time I've ever done it. And
did you enjoy playing?
I love playing. I think the next time I go, I'm gonna go in, bite the bullet, throw down $100, and just play and have fun. If I lose it, I lose it. But I love the art of it, and I feel like being there next to Phil every time he's playing, I'm watching him, and I've picked up a lot on the game itself and, you know, just how everything works. And I always thought it was such an unachievable thing to, like, know how to play cards because it just looks so complicated and, like, just quick pace, and it just feels like you get lost.
A lot of people get scared. They're afraid to step in there, and that's why I tried to just sit down and you just play. You just learn to play, you know, type of thing. You're not going to get hurt. You have a little bit of fun. And try to but you got to know what you're doing, because if you don't know what you're doing, like anything else, not only are you going to struggle, but you're also going to piss off a lot of people at the table if you're sitting with other people.
That's the part right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, while we're on the topic of the West Coast, I think probably the coolest thing we've done this past year was going out to Arizona to meet with the man himself, Andy Elliott. Now, he's, what do you think, probably one of the most controversial sales people the entire internet.
You know, it's so funny because all year, you know, that's what I've heard, right? You know, there's this big controversy in how he body shames people and everything. And he does. I mean, he does. He does exactly that. But he does have a purpose behind it. You know what I mean? And going out there and actually, you know, committing to being there for 4 or 5 days and spending time with his team and going through, you know, what they go through, waking up. I mean, you did it too. What was it like waking up at 4 a.m. in the morning to be at the gym at 5, you know, every single day. And, you know, we're doing calisthenics out in the parking lot in the dark, you know, and, you know, then finishing off with a 2-mile run up a hill and back down.
That's why I got to film it.
You know, yeah.
I didn't have to do it. I got to film it.
You got to stay in shape.
I was running backwards though at a few points there when they were running.
Yeah.
But so Andy Elliott, I mean, that's obviously a very big topic that we're going to cover in this recap we're doing. How are your thoughts going into it?
You know, I really didn't have any. Wasn't sure. I was very curious. I really was, you know, curious about, is he a good guy? Is he a fake? You know, trying to understand the whole concept behind it all. Because, again, a lot of controversy, a lot of haters. None of that really bothers me. Like, I don't really listen to what other people say. I go by what I see. And, you know, so I'm never going to judge somebody because somebody said something about them. I'm going to judge based on what's in front of me. So there was no better thing to do than let's just go out there. Let's just go out there and spend some time with them. And let's find out what kind of people we're really dealing with and what he's really like. And you know what? He is really, you know, obviously he has a big culture. He's got a big following. You know, all of his people, his team, they all believe in him. You know, they all bought into the program. They're all drinking the Kool-Aid, as they say, you know, but it's a way of life. And, you know, it's working for him. It's not a bad thing. It's working for him. It's not for everybody, but it's working for him.
I definitely say they're very passionate at what they do. And, you know, me being on the internet for a little bit, I've seen him around and I've had my conceptions on him. And, you know, going into it, once we actually got there and saw their whole facility and everything, it's very organized. And the way that they all hold themselves, even the type of shoes they're wearing or those little high water kind of pants, the capris or whatever those are called. You know, it's I definitely can see the whole family aspect, but it's almost like, I mean, these people are very, very head over heels with Andy. I mean, it's almost like he's like their lead. I mean, he's their lead, but he's like their god at some levels.
He's the boss, you know, and that's the whole thing. He definitely knows his product. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to sell. He knows, you know, objections. You know, he's done. You know, he's proven that piece of it all, especially in the car industry. You know what I mean? So that for sure, 100%.
How did you originally get connected with Andy and the whole crew?
I called.
Oh, well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. See, you never know if you don't try.
That's right. That's right.
Look at that.
That's it, man. And, you know, it's so funny because we talk about this and, you know, every year I have like this list of people that, you know, I want to reach out to and try to get onto the pod. And I did that in 2025. And, you know, ironically, you know, I guess I was thinking smaller than bigger initially. And I started reaching out and saying, wait a second, you know, who would the viewers want to see? You know, who would they like to hear from? And, you know, when I started seeing people like Andy Elliott, people like the Brad Lees, and people like Bone Crusher and stuff, you know, I realized that, well, they're just a phone call away. You know, all I got to do is pick up the phone and call. I just DM them. Well, what's the worst that could happen? They say no. You know, so, and that's really how I started building some of these relationships.
Well, they've obviously gone super far, especially people like Brad that you're still in contact with and all those guys and your Gary Brad.
I'm actually in good contact with everybody. Everybody, you know, it's super cool because everybody that's really been on the podcast, you know, I can really consider friends, you know, mine. You know, they can pick up the phone. If they call me, I'm picking up the phone, and they pick up the phone when I call them. So very fortunate that there was nobody that I really didn't like, you know, because that's one thing they say. They say, be careful of meeting somebody that you look up to because you might find out they're not who you think they really are.
Heroes or
yeah, they say that, you know, and it's true because, in front of the camera, you're always going to get the highlight reel. You're always going to get what they want you to see. But is that who they really are? Not everybody is as ethical and does that. I'm very fortunate the people that have been on the pod have all been, what you see is what you get.
Yeah, that's true. And touching back on the whole Arizona trip with Andy, that was very surreal, being in an environment with someone like him, as famous as he is and how, connected he is. Not only we got the same treatment that everyone else got being at the event, but you actually got to personally train with him, go to the gym, go to his house. I mean, what was it like getting to have that kind of one-on-one bond with him? And what did the vibe feel like? Did it feel like he was trying to get something out of you, or did it feel like he genuinely wanted to be real with you?
No, I think realistically, I think he was trying to get to know me, and I was obviously trying to know him. And, we were at a mutual spot. We've had some mutual friends, I think, that helped along the way, recognizing that I've sat down with and spoke with. And so have he. And, we talked a couple times on the phone way before I went out there. And, we seem to have the same similar aspects of life and certain things. Faith is really important. It's big in my life, it's big in his life, which was a really good start. Health, as you know, I've been on this health journey for a couple of years, and especially when you almost die, do that. Obviously, he's really big into health and fitness and stuff. And then, of course, selling, but not only just selling, but also helping other people in the world and trying to make a difference, reach other people, and make a difference. So I think we're aligned, a lot, and, getting a way of, hey, how do I get to talk to him? How do I get to, I got to get in his world. And his world was, hey, I'm waking up at 4 a.m. I'll be at the gym. If you want to join me, feel free to join me. And of course, I'm going to be there. I'm going to show up. So it was super cool.
What was it like getting to experience that with your son, Rocco? He came on the trip and he did that all alongside you. What was that like having him there?
It was good, and it was great timing. Having to share, that time, with Rocco, so he could also see, number one, Rocco is one of the biggest inspirations of why I got Andy Elliott on my show, because he told me it could never happen. He's like, Dad, you can't get him on the phone, and you're going to try to reach out to him. They're just going to throw bots at you. They're not going to respond. And then I'll never forget, as soon as I got a DM from Andy and I showed him, he's like, don't mess up what you're going to say next, because then he's not going to come on. And, he was just right surprised. So after talking to Andy and I was telling Andy about it, he's like, bring your son with you. And we were actually at the office, and he FaceTimed me, and we put Rocco on the phone with him, and he realized that Dad wasn't kidding, and he was serious. And he asked Rocco, hey, why don't you come with your dad? And Rocco said, sure, I would love to. So it was super cool to be able to have him experience that. I don't know if he'll say the same. I know he didn't like the 2-mile run up the hill and back on the way out, getting up at 4 a.m. in the morning, right? Waking up 4 a.m. in the morning and stuff was kind of rough after the first time, but he did it. He did it, and I think it's made him a better man for sure. How about you? What did you think of it all?
I mean,
because you too came out and you were out of your element.
See, the whole time, because since I'm there filming, I'm just so locked in on filming and thinking of like all things filming. So sometimes I don't even realize the environment I'm in until I kind of put the camera down and really experience it. And I mean, it was honestly insane. I mean, waking up that early every morning, 4 a.m., going to the gym. Obviously, since I was the cameraman, they were not going to let me off. Same thing with Keith, which was, what was he, Ollie's cameraman, I think?
Ollie's cameraman.
So Keith, we had to do the push-ups as
Love
well.
Love Ollie, too, by the way. Big
shout
out
Ollie.
to Ollie.
Big shout out, Ollie.
Yeah, Ollie, took us in under his wing quite a bit.
Got to shoot some guns.
Oh, yeah, I took a shooting gun range. And
I know Rocco loved that part.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Hi,
I'm Phil Benamino, CEO and founder of Cost Plus Processing, the company that provides financial services to your business. We provide things such as POS systems, ATM machines, and check services. One of the biggest things that we strive ourselves here at Cost Plus Processing is our customer service. We are an A+ rated with the BBB with customer service, and we're proud to say we're here in the United States with all of our customer service agents. Our objective is to actually teach you and educate you about the costs that you're currently paying and show you ways where you can eliminate those costs that you no longer have to pay. One of the biggest programs that are out there today is our dual pricing program, where you actually can offer your customers now a choice of how they want to pay. Do they want to pay with cash or do they want to pay with card? And if they pay with card, it actually helps you to absorb the card fees, so you no longer have to pay the fees like you've done for many, many years. Cost Plus Processing aligns ourselves with some of the top POS companies out there in the industry today. For example, we have perfected the car dealership industry, and our dedicated team are equipped to manage a variety of online payment forms and financing options that merchants require in this advanced ecosystem of payments. If you have a restaurant, we are proud to be able to manage the ongoing difficulties that arise from this fast-paced industry, and you're looking for pay at the table, where customers can easily swipe their cards, tap their cards, and make their payments with tip, and also have a choice of how they want to pay, we have the solutions for you here at Cost Plus. We want to help other small business owners make their dreams come true by providing the best financial support. From barbershops to liquor stores, having the ability to take payments scheduled online and make calculating tip sharing an easy task only helps business owners put more attention and money into what really matters the most. Also, Cost Plus Processing is on the front end of AI. We can also provide you kiosks for your business, so customers can walk over to the kiosk and order anything that they want. Likewise, if you're having problem getting employees in the kitchen to work, we can also provide you robots that will actually deliver your food straight to the customer. I want to thank you for the time that you took to learn a little bit about Cost Plus Processing, and most importantly, why we are the future of merchant processing.
Well, one of your biggest quotes is people have been telling you I can't your whole life. And, you know, I guarantee you one of the things they probably added to that list was you can't be an author. But something big happened this year, 2025. Phil came out with his own book, Money Management Rules for Beginners.
That's right.
What was that like?
That's right. It's right here, man. You know, it was great that I actually did it. I said I was going to do something, and I finally actually took the time. I wanted to create something that people would actually read. Okay, books that are real thick. So, like, I'm not a big reader. My mind doesn't allow me to read. I sit down, you know, I read 10, 12 pages and stuff, and boom, I got to move on, you know, because I got too many things going on in my head that I don't focus enough long term. So I wanted to make something that was short that people would focus enough, but they could, you know, retain some information that's beneficial to them. And, you know, throughout my life, obviously I've coached so much with so many different kids, and these kids are getting older now. A lot of them playing college ball, they're making NIL money. I got some playing pro ball, making money, and they're calling me up and they're asking, you know, what do I do with my money? Like, well, what do you do, coach? What should I do and stuff? And I was like, you know what? I never say no to kids. When kids ask a question or they want to be mentored, I always seem to be like, okay, I can't say no. Like, God put me here to help. This is what I'm supposed to do, you know. But it got to the point where it's like, I don't have the time. I'm only one. There's 24 hours in a day, and that's it. I can't make 25 hours out of 24. I just can't. So how can I do that? Well, if I write a book about it, then I can apply it to everybody. I can say, read this first. There's rules in here and stuff. So, you know, getting money management rules, it tells people at a younger age of set up rules with the money. You know, a lot of times when people get money, think about it. When you were growing up, when you were 10 years old, and you got, you know, $100 for, you know, your grandmother gave you, or your grandpa, or somebody, or mom or dad, or Christmas, or your birthday. You know, what'd you do with the money? Do you even know what you did with the money? Do you remember what you did with the money?
I probably saved it, knowing me. I was never,
you probably
I
saved it, but you don't even know.
Yeah.
You don't even
Just
know.
knowing me, I always save
So a lot of times kids don't know what to do,
Yeah.
but when you saved it, what do? Put it in a piggy bank?
Yeah, just tuck it away.
Tuck it away. Not going to earn any money that way.
Yep.
It's just there. You know, so in this book tells you, you know, some rules of what to do with that money, even at a young age, where you can put it away, where it can start making you some interest, where it can start working for you, you know, type of thing. And that's what I think that's what our generations are lacking. And a lot of these kids today are very fortunate because they are able to make some big money, whether it's, you know, whether they're an influencer, whether they're a sports person, or whether they're just an entrepreneur and out there working. But what are they doing? Are they going out buying cars and clothes and trying to be what they're
Chains.
not, type of thing,
Yeah.
but what they want to be?
Mm.
There's nothing wrong with trying to be what you want to be, because you will be that. Okay. If you manifest it enough, but if you plan for it,
Mm.
you've already become it. You don't even
Mhm.
realize it. You've already became it.
There's a fine
So-
line of delusion. You have to be wise enough to know when it's too much and when you're fulfilling the manifestation correctly, to motivate yourself.
You can actually get this book, just so for the viewers, you go on Amazon, you get this book. It's $20. It's the best $20 you'll ever purchase. It could save you millions of dollars. It really can.
It will.
And that's no joke. And it'll take you about 30 minutes to read if you're a good reader. Maybe 45 if you're a slower reader. But go to Amazon today and purchase Money Management for Beginners, a book for everybody, especially younger kids. Kids that get money and don't know what to do with it. This is the best $20 you'll ever spend. Will save you millions. That's right. I said millions of dollars if you start young, and earn you the same. Amazon. Amazon. Being out in Arizona, remember we gave it to Ali's son.
Oh, yeah.
He read it in 2 days, had it done. And how old was he? Like 8? He was young, and he was, super excited about it and everything. And, so it was made for that reason and for those people.
Well, I definitely think that's good because, a lot of people nowadays don't have much guidance, especially when it comes to finances and being financially literate. And, speaking on that topic of guests that you've had, like college ball players and entrepreneurs and people who, when they get that big first bag, most likely they do like to go out and spend it on something big and whatnot. Ethan Barbour, for instance, he was one of the first guests that we had on beginning of this year. What was it like, getting to talk to him and the new level of, I guess, success that he's come into with Georgia and all of that?
I'm just not surprised. It was great. Ethan was on year 1. Was the first year when he was in high school. He was a 4-star athlete at the time, fighting to get that 5th star. And, he wanted to go to college. He had all these things. And I knew then he was special. Like, he was going to be able to accomplish those things. So when he came back this year as a Georgia Bulldog, as a true freshman and actually playing, he was starting, he was getting on the field, and they developed a role for him. Like, he was in the backfield at times. He was blocking. He was doing things. Super happy, super proud. He did get injured. He got hurt, unfortunately, which, shortened his season. But I think he's already back, and I think you might going to see him in the playoff tournament.
Ooh.
Get back on the field. Little rumor might be able to see that. But, smart kid, well-grounded, comes from a great family. His parents is, talk to him. He's not about the money. He's not about he likes his Louis Vuittons. Don't let him kid you. He likes the nice stuff, but he also understands having rules and put money away and doing the right things too.
Yep.
So, yeah.
One of our most reoccurring guests, he was on close enough right there at the beginning of 2025. Torres Finney, we just got word recently that he's fighting in Australia.
Yeah.
I forget what exact date, but
It's actually February 1st.
February 1st
Yeah.
of the 2026 Paramount car. We got Finney in Sydney.
Yeah, it'd be January 29th, I think, in the U.S. and February 1st in Sydney, Australia. But, Torres, what a great story, right? If you're not inspired by watching, a person who actually was on the Contender 3 times, he won the Contender 3 times before Dana would actually give him the contract.
Yeah.
And not only that, but he really got, Dana didn't really care too much for his style of fighting, and he made it clear, especially after his second win, and stuff about, how, because he was he's a grappler. He's an all-star grappler.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and he's just kind of a freak of nature. He's not the biggest guy when it comes to tall.
Yeah.
He's not but boy, does he got some power in his punches, and he can go. But so to see him win the Contender 3 times and then get the contract, and now knowing he had his first fight, he won his first fight. He took some time off. He's been working with DC.
I was about
So
to say.
Dana Cormier, he's out there in Cali working with DC. He said, "Hey man, I'm going to get some great wrestling coaches to teach me everything, not just wrestling, but how to strike and everything else while I'm able to wrestle." why not go with the best? And that's what he did. He put himself in that circle, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he does in Australia. I think I'm getting on a plane heading out there.
I think Torres Finney is about to take over the UFC by storm again. I mean, especially too after he's been with DC. I mean, he's got to be the most all-around well fighter now, because you always know, worst case, he can always go to that double leg. You know, he can always resort to that.
Oh yeah,
They're not
well,
gonna be
yeah.
able to get him.
You're not gonna be able to get up, get away from him. If he's got you down, you're in trouble. You're not gonna get away from him.
Yeah, and speaking of Finney, he actually acted in a movie that we did this past summer.
Yeah.
Which Phil's got his IMDb now. He is officially an actor.
Yeah.
Vinny the Viper. What was that like? Big saga of our summer. I mean, that was what, 2 months of our time.
Yeah. Being Blood Money too, being a gangster, Vinny the Viper. I think as a kid, you're kind of being an Italian kid. You grow up, you that's a kind of a dream, right?
Yeah.
To be able to do that. So, super cool, super fun. It was very draining. I will say that as well. Being on sets, long days, long nights, a lot of different, attitudes, with different people. Things happen. Things don't always go right. You got to make changes on the fly. But it was a great experience. I wouldn't trade it in. I'm very thankful and blessed. Tyler actually, who was on our pod in year one, he was the main actor, Blake. He and I appreciate him, brought me in on the first one to do a little cameo, and that turned into a supporting role part for Blood Money too. So it was cool.
Well, if you guys thought that Phil was just an author or an entrepreneur or a podcast host, he did something else big in 2025, believe it or not. He's deciding to go in with opening his own gym, which is, let's talk a little bit about that. Obviously, it's not ready yet or anything, but it's in the works.
It's going to be ready in 2026. It's going to be ready. We're building now. I'll tell you what, it's NOD, Performance Institution. It's no off days. That's it. That's what the brand is. That's what it's all about. But yeah, it's going to be it's going to be really good when it gets open. We fought with the counties with the licenses, and we're fighting with permits and stuff for the parking. We just put a whole new roof on the building, which unfortunately a guy literally just 2 days ago fell through the roof. Okay, 18 feet, 20 feet down. Thank God he's okay and everything, but you never want something like that to happen.
Liability.
But yeah. But yeah, man, super excited about that. We're gonna do a gym. We're gonna do it different. It's gonna be different. Like there's only gonna be a limited amount of members. It's gonna be like a members gym, where you have to qualify to even get an invite to be part of it all. And it's gonna be a one-stop all. Like it's going to have everything you could ever think of in this place.
I mean, speaking of that, I mean, you had Andrew and Jamie. They probably own the biggest gym equipment brand in the world, Arsenal Strength, right?
Yeah, and hell, if I'm going to do it, I want to do it right?
Yep.
So I'm going to bring in the best. Actually, and it was funny because, we actually drove to Tennessee where their actual, their facility is, where they actually build the equipment, because I really wanted something here in the United States. I wanted something that's made here, not from China that's cheap or getting ported over here. I wanted it to be here in the U.S. And it was the perfect solution. And going to their facility and going through it and seeing their culture and even their employees, like how happy they are to be working with them, I knew like, okay, the brand is great. The equipment is top notch. I mean, we ended up going out to Vegas to Mr. Olympia and tested some of the new stuff that we're actually purchasing to put in here. But yeah, we're gonna go all with their brand, and they're a cool couple, man. They've done some great things.
So Phil, we've had a lot of cool artists and musicians on the podcast. People from Astro, who was in YSL, to Bone Crusher, to Pinkbeard, to Ruben Studdard, Q Parker. I mean, what's it like getting to talk to these people and learn what it's like being in their industry?
Well, Will, the reality is, having a lot of music artists is super cool, right? And we had all different genres. I mean, from Ruben Studdard, which is, I mean, we're talking American Idol, like it goes way back, type of thing. Q Parker, sexy music, you know what I mean? He's making it big right now. He's in a whole new album. And then there were some real big surprises, like a Pink Beard, which, this guy's got country flavor and rock and roll and jazz, and he's kind of all mixed in together. And I'm telling you, man, I actually went to one of his concerts out there in Atlanta when he was here. And what a great show it was. Like, just being able to see that. King Malachi, I remember him showing up. He was dressed to the hilt. You know what I'm saying? He had the cowboy hat on and everything. And, the king has arrived. But they're all just down to earth, super cool people. Bone Crusher, you go like, he goes way back. I ain't never scared. I remember when I was a kid, you're seeing that every time you go to the Falcons game, you're hearing it, or the Braves game. Hell, I was in LA. I was hearing at the Raiders game, and stuff. And to think, he's sitting across and turns out to be a good friend of mine as well. Now, we talk every week. Just great, great people. And I think that's what I've enjoyed the most, about with the podcast is getting to increase, your net work, because I feel like relationships are what life should all be about. You know what I mean? Money will come and go. It's not ours anyways. It's going to pass through our hands. It's going to go to somebody else, and you can't do nothing with it. But relationships are always there. So if you can get something, and that's what the show has always been about. Like if even the viewers, if they pick up one little nugget, you know what I'm saying, that helps them get through the day, or gives them a little bit of hope, or get them to see something about somebody that they didn't even think was possible or knew anything about, then I feel like we're doing great things for the world.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, ending it off here, I want a few of your goals and things that you have planned for 26 that you can share with the audience here that you think are.
Well, you know what? I want to know what the audience wants. 2026, I want to know, if you got any comments and stuff, if you got any ideas, you want to see somebody on the show, go ahead and post it and put in the comments and stuff. One of the biggest things that I would love to see in 2026 is more comments. I want to hear from you. I want to know what you like, what you don't like, because the interaction is what's important about our show. That's really, really where I want to take it. I got bigger goals. Obviously, we got some great artists already lined up. Shoot, we got Cam Carter's coming soon. We got, Jay Beats coming. So like, we got some good people lined up that we're about to unload for 2026. And I'm super excited about it. We're looking for, a new studio set we're building as well, that we're going to be able to get. Obviously, the gym, we're going to get the NOD going. We're going to get that place open. Our Vegas studio, we got that jammed up. We got some good people already lined up there that are going to be there. Maybe some fighters, you know what I'm saying? Maybe some old-time fighters. Just give a little hint, to that. But, overall, we're going to continue to bring in some great, cool guests. But I don't think there's been one show that I was like, wow, I didn't like that person, or wow, we made a mistake, type of thing. I think everybody that we've had on the show has given something, special to the audience.
Well, and I feel the same way too about the guests. I feel like the guests, they've all each taken something special from these episodes as well. And I've had a great time interviewing you today, Phil. It's been a little different sitting here in the King's throne. And remember, if your life was a movie, would it be worth watching? And if not, start doing some cooler shit. Stay positive and keep testing negative.